reactions to this information, right? This is some really hard information. And I think that what he was saying was, what we want to do is we want to push it away. We want to avoid it. We don't want to think about it. We want to put it off till tomorrow or another day or whatever, right? We don't want to go through the pain. And we know really that the only way through, the only way to get over the pain is actually to go through the pain, right? So there's a huge body of clinical workers and other people who are talking about something called planetary hospice, right? And they're applying Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grieving to people's reactions to abrupt climate change. So I don't know how many people are familiar with the 5 stages of grieving. What's the first one? Denial, right? So we could argue we've been in a state of denial as a civilization for a long, long time, right? The second stage? Anger, right? People get angry, look for someone to blame. Why aren't we doing anything? What's going on? Oh my gosh, my whole life, my children, that whole thing. What's the third stage?
Bargaining.
Bargaining. So let's geoengineer, right? Let's do everything we can as quickly as we can. Please, there's got to be a way. Technology will save us, right? What's the fourth stage? Depression, right? And that's when you sort of hit the reality and you become depressed. Normal. What is the fifth stage? Acceptance. And that's a long road to acceptance. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to open it up for some Q&A, but more of people sharing their sort of immediate reactions to the data that's been presented here, and to open up a conversation about that. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Peter, and back to Peter and Guy to lead that.
Wow. So right now what I'd like us all to do is kind of shake and make some noise. Please move your bodies a little bit, make a sound a little bit. That's an awful lot of info to pack into 45 minutes. And we need to support ourselves in this process. And movement is really important. Move yourself. So I've been with Guy for the last 7 months now, I guess, on 3 tours, and getting to be with groups as we hear this information and as we begin to process this probability thing. And really all you need to own up to is that somewhere between 5 years and 30 years, we've got a serious change to our planet. And if you can accept that as just a general premise, then your beingness moves into a new space. And the future doesn't hold the same power that the future used to hold. And we realize how much energy we have in our legacy, in the future, in these great things I was going to do and might not do and feel guilty about or don't feel guilty about. And so people ask me, why am I helping this guy spread this message? I say what's happened to me is that future thing has frittered away. And all this energy has come up to the moment, and all this energy has led to this presence that I feel that says, wow, we've always known we were going to die. But our culture is incredibly grief-denying and death-denying. And we don't want to talk about it. But there's power in realizing that this is a temporary dance we're in. We know that. But we don't use that power, and that's what this situation is bringing up for people, is that it's time to be now. It's time to allow humanity to move through us in the most beautiful way imaginable. And for us to be us. For us to do the things that we feel moved to do with our lives, without the attachment that I'm going to get credit for it, or I'm going to get money for it, or I'm going to have a legacy for it. But now we move toward solutions, and we move toward who we are with this idea of, I'm doing this because this is who I am. This is how humanity moves through me. We make ourselves more than human. We've been so caught up in this lifetime, this little body thing, yet we know there's so much more. And that's what's being accessed now by this message. And so we have a half an hour roughly, and we want your input. We want to know how this is moving through you. We want to discuss a little bit about how do you share this with other people if you feel like sharing it. And some will and some won't, and that's all good. There's no way to do this wrong. And the easiest example is imagining that you're on the Titanic. Right? Here we are on cruise ship Earth. Oh yes, I'm with my gal. We've got this beautiful cruise ship Earth going on. It's all the best thing. It could never fail. It's the greatest planet ever built, and it's just for me, us humans, us privileged humans, right? And you're having a beautiful day for a while, and then the captain comes on the microphone. Excuse me, passengers. It seems as though we might have, I'm not really quite sure. We're breaking through some ice. It appears as though we're going to hit an iceberg. I'm very, very sorry. The ship will be going down. I'm not sure how long it will take. Dinner will not be served. There is a band in the lounge. Good night. And there you are on cruise ship Earth. And you go, whoa. This was supposed to be my vacation. This was my life. There's still 7 more days. And how does that show up with you? Some people will say, where's that captain? I'm going to kill him. Some people say, where's the lifeboat? I want to get on. Some people say, where's my family? I want to lay with my loved one. Some people say, where's the lounge? Let's go party. Right? Hey, can we turn this into a lifeboat? You know, every possible reaction shows up at that time, and you might move through several of them. But that's the easiest analogy that we've come up with to help frame what it is we think we're up to here. Whew, so who's feeling like sharing? Who would come up here and use the microphone and share what's going on with them? Or you don't even have to use the microphone. Stand up and speak loudly. Yeah, we don't want to talk about this. There's somebody. Hey, great. You want to come up front? Yes, thank you. See, this is our culture.
It right?
Pardon?
Domino effect. Somebody's got to tip the first one. Somebody's got to speak first.
That's right. What is your name?
Elizabeth?
Thank you, Elizabeth. Tell us what you're feeling. Hold it close to your mouth.
I'm a stage voice. I can speak
Okay.
to 2,000. I wasn't here for Tuesday, like the majority of us. What they just spoke about, half a degree is really important. Oh, we're going to reach 6 degrees within the next decade. That's, what, 12 times what, oh, we shouldn't do this. We can't stop it. Too late. Is this oops? We sit down, just wait. We can't stop. We can't go to the lifeboat. We can't say, turn around, let's stop we can miss it. We already hit it. We were sitting on top of the iceberg, and the water's rushing in. And everybody's starting to quake. I'm shaking, thinking about it. Who's seen The Day After Tomorrow? That's real. That's a possibility. Within a week, we could be destroyed. Civilization crashed. This is real. But we can't run like deer from a fire. We're trapped, scared. So what now? What do we do?
Yeah. Oh, 1 second, buddy, because you set it up perfectly. What do? We remember that we're not human doings. We remember that we are human beings. And we dare to find our beingness. And we allow that deeper beingness to drive our doingness. We'll talk a little bit more about that too. Thank you. Let's have a round of applause for coming up to share. Tell us your name and what you're going on.
I just want to say that there's been a lot of information that's been presented today, but we don't really know the truth. And there's been people saying that we're gonna die. Like back in the 70s, they were saying by 2010 that we were all gonna be underwater, and things are pretty much okay. And after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, I'm pretty much sure everybody in Europe thought this is the end, we're doomed, we're done. But then there was the Renaissance, and here we are, 1,700 years later,
This is different.
And it's like, well, let me speak, brother. Okay, I got the mic. So, another thing is, okay, there's something called Agenda 21 that the United Nations has put out. And this all is a large fear-mongering campaign in order to get people to give up their sovereignty of their own natural resources. Okay? So look up Agenda 21. And geoengineering, by the way, goes way past just turning on your cell phone. Okay, they are spraying chemicals into the air. Okay, aluminum, barium, strontium, all that shit. Okay? So you want to talk about methane and all that stuff, carbon dioxide. Let's get rid of the deforestation and start soaking up some of these things, okay? The earth itself produces, carbon dioxide. So these are natural occurring processes. Human beings are not the cancer that people want you to think we are. Okay, yeah, we might wind up dying out like the dinosaurs, but so what? But to sit here and just sit on our hands and say, well, let's just hang out and party because we're all screwed. No offense, I think it's a bunch of BS. I think there's a lot of things we can fix, and spraying chemicals in the fucking air sure as hell ain't it. Excuse my language. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much. It's very important that you dare to do your research. This is one scientist, granted he's been doing this for 30 years, but get out there and do your research. Find out what you think is happening. In no way are we saying sit on your hands. In no way are we saying stop acting. But it's very important what he said. We're not saying this is the only way. This is just what is the current vibe happening in the scientific community. And this is what the conservative people are already saying. So you get to make your own decisions about that. But please look into it. Thank you for daring to step up and speak. We need to do that.
A long time Tucsonan and author Edward Abbey wrote, "Action is the antidote to despair." And I like to say, if you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, then do. So I think this message, which really is just a reminder that you get to live, and as a consequence, the price of admission for getting to live is that you get to die too. So it's just a reminder. I think, at least for me and for many other people I meet, this is a very liberating message. Let's throw off the shackles of culture. Let's stop living in a cube, driving in a cube. There's actually a car called a Cube that you can drive to your cube farm and work in a cube. So maybe we shouldn't do what culture drives us to do so that we all end up doing the same thing. So I think the message, at least for me, the acceptance of the message is one of gratitude that I get to be here, that I get to be sad, as Louis C.K. says, and incredible liberation. Because no matter how long we live, it's a short period of time. Let's do the things that bring us joy and bring joy to those of us around us. Let's not be bound by the shackles of culture.
Hi everyone, I was here yesterday extending this offer. I'm a student here and I work at the Sustainability Resource Center, and that's a place for us to create a new community of doers and beers, where we have projects going on at the nation level, the national level, the state level, our county level, and even ideally your own backyard. So if you would like to get involved in a project or see something you have in your mind kicking around, come to actualization. We have a growing web of like-minded people, and I ask you to come and join. So in case you're not familiar with the area, it's in the swing spaces near the art building, and see my face, come say hello, and let's move forward together.
Thank you, Kate. I think the least we can do, and people tell me all the time I do the least I can do, so there's that. The least we can do at this time is to be of service to each other and the living planet. So I don't know what drives people to lives of service. Some people have it within them like Kate does, and other people clearly don't. But I would encourage you to pursue a life of service for whatever that means for you. Anybody else? You're an adult. Do what you want.
Okay, well then I don't want to. All right, well, I'm going to go back to the Titanic scenario. So one thing I think that we could do, like you said, deforestation, huge problem. Why don't we, instead of cut down all these trees, plant a bunch of trees? There's not like there's not a plenty of space. Obviously, they were there somewhere. Just put them right back. People want land. We have lots of land that people aren't using, like McDonald's. I don't even go to McDonald's anymore because they got rid of a bunch of forest in Colombia. They didn't let scientists go through there so they could pasture land for their, I almost touched you, for their cows. There's plenty of farmland. There's plenty of farmers that would love to have had this studied great job. People are being wasteful, so why don't we try plugging up the hole while we're sinking so maybe more people can live instead of like, okay, there's not enough lifeboats for everybody. We don't have food, so you're going to be hungry anyways. You might starve and die on the boat that you're going back to wherever, but more people have a chance to live if we try to plug up the hole instead of just be like, okay, there's a hole. So, I don't know, people need to be more solution-oriented, and like, we all like stop being such consumers. I mean, we're not going to be able to stop being consumers, let's be realistic, but if we all do like a little bit of the easy things, it does add up. So, try to plug in.
Thank you. You know, some people like to share this information and others don't. I talked to somebody yesterday who was at the presentation last night. They got into a cab and immediately they assaulted the poor cab driver. Guess what I heard? And the cab driver is like, you can get out here. No, you don't owe me a thing, just leave. I mean, I can only imagine the poor cab driver. So one way that you might want to start this conversation is, there's two kinds of people in the world. People who think there's two kinds of people in the world, and oh no, that's not right. If there's an asteroid about to strike the Earth, and astronomers know with great certainty that the asteroid is coming and it's going to hit Earth, and it's almost certainly going to destroy all habitat for humans. And so there's people who want to know exactly the second the asteroid is going to strike. And then there's other people, they don't want to know a thing. I just want to go on with my life the same as I've been doing. I don't want to know about any stinking asteroid. So you might ask people, oh, which kind of person are you? Do you want to know about the asteroid or do you not? Because climate change is the asteroid. Civilization is the asteroid that is aimed right at human habitat. And so some people don't want to know. That's okay. I got no problem with that. Okay, that's a lie. If anybody sits next to me on the airplane and they open the door to talking about abrupt climate change, I'm all over it. And by opening the door, I mean saying hello. Hello? What do you mean hello? Do you mean abrupt climate change? It's an acronym, isn't it? Thanks for bringing that up. But I understand some people are not going to be that forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I got something on all that. It kind of seems as though, like, the point of view of, like, the point of view of the asteroid thing. Let's go historically speaking. At the European invasion, the native indigenous population here warned of what the things were going on and what the industrial age was doing and promoting and then there henceforth. So that was your asteroid warning. And I can even bet you a penny that if we possibly even turned off all the power, stopped moving cars, stopped moving planes for a year, maybe even a month, all these demographics, the levels would drop. I bet, I guarantee it. You know, you just stop the power, stop the movement just for a little while. And then, yeah, go back into it. You only have your car back after a month, but it would help, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Our minds and solutions are so powerful. We play with this. How could we present a solution? We say, let's be solution. Let's see if we can do a solution. But that would require massive shutdown of all industrial civilization. And
give way to warmongers on board.
And we've got a real big problem with overpopulation. We would need to do something significant about that, yet we don't even want to talk about it in our culture. If we could just do those two things, we might have a chance. Anybody with me? All right? You know, we're going to cut population in half and we're going to stop using all fossil fuels. Here we go. You know, so maybe, but they just can't seem to think that 7 billion of us are going to get on board with that. Yeah.
Hi. I used to take classes here from Marianne Love, a wonderful teacher and mentor, and she taught us, I was part of the Love Corps, and she taught us that we can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. And what I'm talking about is the collective consciousness, the pool of energy that we create with our own energy and our own thoughts. Remember how powerful that is, that we don't want to shame people. We don't want to look down on people because we think we know a better way. But teach with kindness and with example. And that's the best we can do, is add to the positive collective consciousness, and maybe it will exponentially turn things around.
Okay. One of the things that I've noticed as I've gotten older, I'm going to be 68 in a couple of days, and I noticed that when I walk among the young, and I'm including most of the people in this room, there isn't much eye contact. I find that I don't know what it's like to be young anymore, and I want to be connected to people. And so for me, the thing I want to do until it's the end of all we know is to look at you and see you looking back at me and having us feel that we're together in this, that we're all alive right at this moment, and seeing what that feels like to be fully alive and acknowledging other live beings. And for me, that's the easiest thing I could do, and it would give me the most juicy pleasure about being alive and looking at you and having you look back at me, and maybe a little tiny smile might come there. Yeah! Thank you.
Yeah, to feel her quest for aliveness, her quest for connection that is so innate in our humanity. And we're learning, we're remembering how to do that again.
I'm up here because of the death. I've experienced 2 deaths real close to me recently. And unfortunately for me, being 36, I've seen it far too many times. So what I do every night is I make sure I hug and I kiss my children goodnight. I make sure that I treat everyone with respect, regardless of how they look, how different they are, where they come from, how they talk. And I'm not going to stop living my life. Obviously, there are things that none of us could control. That's life. We can wake up and we could not be here tomorrow. Every day, you know, you're on borrowed time. So it's best to use your borrowed time wisely and to be kind to people and to make sure that we can work together. Because we're all in this together, because one day it's going to be all of us and not just a single person.
Yes, again, human kindness. Yes, again, remembering that life is fragile and temporary. This is our moment. This is your moment, young man, with whatever's showing up in your world. This is your chance to say, wow, I thought there was so much time. I was going to all this time. I could see the beauty of Bidwell Park some other time. You seem kind of nice, but I can talk to you later. There's other nice people. I'm going to put my earbud in and listen to something else nobody knows I'm listening to. And wait a minute, I got a text. I'm addicted already too. It's crazy what technology and the comforts of life and the luxuries of our Western privileged life are doing. Whew. Who else wants to share? We got 6 more minutes. What? Okay. Oh, wait, was there somebody that I said I'll get right back to you? No, that was okay. It's you. Okay. Speak to us, Daniel, and then you, Jerry.
Yeah, I was just, one of my favorite prayers is, "May you be alive at the end of history." It's an old Irish prayer. And I've thought about that for many years and thinking about, well, sometimes it sounds like a curse, but then it's a prayer. What does it really mean? And I think it points to what a tremendous privilege it is to be alive at a time when it's the end of his story, which has been a huge mistake, you know, in the last few thousand years of patriarchy, or 10,000 years or whatever, compared to all the time we've been alive on this planet. So we're alive to witness the end of his story. And what an incredible opportunity that is to try to figure out what to do at that time if you accept that, as Guy's saying, that it's already baked into the pie that 4 degrees, 6 degrees, whatever, it's happening no matter what we do in civilization crash today. It's there, it's happening. The end is right before us. And what do? And the best thing I can think of to do is to figure out how to apologize to nature, not to ask for forgiveness, because that's a bit much, I think, for humans to ask for, but to just apologize in whatever way you can, through poetry, through song, through acts of kindness, through art of various kinds, but just to keep that word, I'm sorry, I apologize, at your forefront, and let that lead the way.
Thank you, Daniel. Somebody back here? Yeah, come on up. Or not. Okay.
Another thing that I really appreciate is that we may not have it all together, but together we can have it all. And just learning to get self out the way and valuing each other as individuals and contributing together, makes miracles happen. Believing in something bigger, just realizing that human beings are our most valuable resource here on earth, So it's just something to think about, and getting ourselves out the way and believing that trust is the outcome. Things can happen.
You remind me of something Kurt Vonnegut used to say. Thank you. Kurt Vonnegut, in response to the question, why are we here, typically gave one of two answers. He would quote his son Mark between when his son Mark came out of an insane asylum and before he earned his medical degree at Harvard Medical School. During that little gap in time, Mark Vonnegut said, in response to the question, why are we here? We are here to help each other through this, whatever this is. That's pretty awesome. And then Kurt Vonnegut would occasionally quote his uncle as well, who in response to the question, why are we here, said, we're here to fart around and don't let anybody tell you any different. So somewhere between we're here to have fun, we're here to indulge ourselves in others, we're here to create moments of true joy, and help each other through this, whatever this is, I think somewhere in there lies the answer, at least for me. Obviously there's 7.1 billion answers, or 7.1 billion responses to what to do. But I hope that they come from within you, that you ponder, why are we here, and why are you here, and what might you do with the limited time that we're here? Even if you live to be 100, it's a limited time. Yeah, in the back.
So I have a lot of thoughts swirling around, but one came to the surface that I wanted to point out. Anais Nin said once that we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. So looking at the destruction in the form of relationships that we've created with the natural world, and the interpretation that we give it, and turning that back in and asking, how does that represent who we are as individual human beings, and how does that reflect our connection with other human beings? And using that as a point of leverage, a point of something very solid that we can do every day to build up the resiliency to purify our connections through the way that we know best, which is through knowing ourselves and knowing other people who we can understand. Unlike data on a screen, which is difficult to understand and integrate. So I guess I'm just saying, if you can't understand all the science of what's out there, you can understand what's in here, and you can understand what's in someone else in there, and you can connect. And that'll breed the same spirit of connection that we need to bring the earth back to right balance.
That's a great comment. I think that's a great place to stop. I'm going to turn the microphone back to Mimi. Thank you all.
So I want to thank everyone for coming today. Now this has been a very difficult topic, and you'll probably take it out with you, and you may be grappling with it, and you may have difficulty with it, or you may just kick it to the curb and say, I don't want to think about that. I invite those of you who'd like to stay another 15 minutes. I know a lot of you have to get going to next class, but we'll stick around for another 15 minutes if people want to talk any more about this or have any more questions for Dr. McPherson. But I just want to sort of close by saying that, we are facing a convergence of crises. This generation right here. And, whether it's climate change, species extinction, all of these things are converging together to create, the perfect storm, if you will. And these are things that are not going to go away. So my advice to you as a teacher would be to learn as much as you possibly can. To learn what you can, right? And then share that with others. And that will help to liberate your mind.